Being a woman is a biological identity, and becoming a woman of distinct value is a developed identity. Your identity is not merely what people call you. It is what becomes consistently associated with your name. Hello, I want to welcome you to the Woman of Our Dream community, where we believe so much in women. We believe so much in women becoming leaders, becoming top-notch business persons, women of value. My name is Ben Sunday, and I'll be taking you through the route of today's teaching on the subject matter of identity. When I mention the name Dangote, a particular person comes to your mind with a particular identity. And when I mention the name Otedola, a particular name comes to your mind and with an identity. And when I mention the name Tony Elumelu, a particular name comes into your mind with a particular identity. Let's say we have a conversation and I make reference to Dangote. You will not ask which Dangote, because you know the name, you know the person I'm making reference to. And why you know this name is because this name is constantly associated with an identity. This name has developed an identity of value attached to the name per existence. Those names I mentioned have been associated with something over time. It could be business, it could be leadership, it could be influence, it could be wealth, it could be excellence, it could be philanthropist. There are other persons whose name have been associated with or have been identified with fashion, have been identified with football, and every other sector of existence. Now, I'd like you to pause and ask yourself a simple question at this point. When your name is mentioned, what comes to people's mind? What have your name become known for? What value does your name represent? Or what problem can people confidently call you at whatever time, or refer you to people at whatever time to solve? Because being a woman is an identity, but not an entirety of your identity. Remember, I told you that a woman is first your biological identity, but becoming a woman of value is a developed identity. You must become more than just a woman. You must become a woman of character, a woman of value, a woman of substance, a woman of influence in any phase of your existence. So now the big question is, what's identity? So I start by saying that identity is not merely who you are biologically. Throw some things out. I said identity is not simply who you are biologically. Your identity has several layers. So it's not about who you are, whether you are a masculine gender or a feminine gender. Your identity is not really that you were born into a poor family. Your identity is not really that you were born into a rich family. Or your identity is not really that you were born into a particular cultural existence. Especially within Africa and Nigeria, you say, oh, I'm Yoruba by tribe, I'm Igbo by tribe, I'm Hausa by tribe, I'm Fulani by tribe. That's not your identity. I wrote here, Identity has several layers. Who you are, what you believe, what you are becoming, what you are capable of, what you consistently represent, what people can trust you for. So we started by saying identity is who you are. So first, you must identify who you are. The next thing is your beliefs. Your belief system can structure your identity. Your belief system can put your kind of identity out there. Your belief system can temper with, your belief system have the ability to temper with your identity. And what you are becoming has to do with you've seen the future, you've seen the future, and you are determined to walk into the future. So that can serve as your identity. What you are capable of, your abilities, the things that you can do. And the next thing is what you consistently represent. What you consistently represent, like when you see Dangote, you know what he consistently represents. When you see Tony, you know what he consistently represents. When you hear the name Nike, you know what they consistently represent. Now the thing is that the next thing is what people can trust you for. There are a lot of persons that are into business. There are a lot of women that are into business. There are a lot of women who are into one business or the other. But then the keyword trust is missing. You find out that you exist within a cycle of friends, but nobody can refer you, nobody can actually vouch for you. There's a trust link missing. So identity is what people can trust you for. I like you to understand that your name becomes very powerful when it is associated with something valuable. Your name becomes powerful when it is associated with something valuable. The name Dangote is powerful because it is associated with something valuable. as a woman, as a lady, you should strive to invent something valuable. Your aim should not be that you should pursue power, pay power, but your aim should be that you should create something of value attached to your name. I told myself something some times ago. I said I will grow to the rank of value such that when you mention my surname, as long as my surname is concerned, when you mention my surname, Benebong, the only face that will come to your mind will be my face. So power is attached to a name that carries value. Let me go ahead and make some other example. Practically, if I call you and say, please, do you have someone who is into branding, who is into design, like graphics design? A particular name will come to your head. Now, not because other persons are not in existence, but because that name has gathered value based on the services offered. So that becomes that particular person's identity, who he is trusted for. And I'll call you and say, oh, I need someone who can bake for my birthday. I need someone who can make small chops for my birthday. I need someone who can make chin chin for my birthday. I need someone who can do peanut for me. I love peanut a lot. So, and I just contacted somebody. One particular person must always find an identity to that particular problem. One particular person in your contact list must always find an identity to the most. One particular person in your contact list must always be associated with solving that particular problem of mine, and that makes it the person's identity. Now, my fashion designer is a lady, Pistis Fashion House here in Akwa Ibom State. You see, when I was planning for my wedding, I knew I needed to sew some outfits. I knew my groomsmen needed to sew some outfits. The only name that could enter, the only fashion house that could enter my head as at that time was Pistis. That was the brand identity that entered my head. Now, that's because she has a particular identity. You can't be calling Pistis. Her name is Faith. You can't be calling Faith and be thinking of farm. You can't be calling Faith and be thinking of baking. Once the name Faith comes into your mind, you say, which Faith? Is it Pistis? I said, oh, it's Pistis. He said, that girl that sews, that's her identity. As simple as that. So my question is, whenever they mention your name, Imabong, Blessing, Josephine, whatever name you carry, whenever they mention your name, what comes to the person's, whenever they mention your name, what identity comes to the person's mind? I'm going to do some practical exercise now. I'd like you to pick a sheet of paper. If you're following this teaching to this point, pick a sheet of paper. Now write your name at the top of the sheet and then ask yourself, when this name is mentioned, what do people really know me for? What's the identity that this name carries? Now, when you are done writing that, do not answer what you wish people to know you for. Answer what people currently know you for. We are heading somewhere. Now, answer what people currently know you for, and if there's nothing that you are currently known for, now, in the next line, what you're going to do is this. You're going to write what you want people to know you for. That's your identity. Then you are going to start working from there. You are going to start building capacity from there. As a woman, our advice is to stop building your identity around a role. Many women in our society today have succeeded in building their identity around a particular role. So you find a woman on the road answering and having an identity attached to a role and not the main identity. So as a woman, I would advise you to stop building your identity around a particular role. You meet a lady and you're having a conversation with her. The next thing, on a point of introduction, the next thing she will say is, I'm somebody's wife, or she say, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a pastor's wife, and I'm a student, I'm a secretary. That's a role you are playing in somebody else's life. That's a role that you are playing in the society's existence, right? Now, your identity should be distinct and not just a role. Remember that blank sheet of paper I asked you to write some practical questions that you have to answer before now? I'd like you to pick it up and ask yourself these questions. What if my job is taken from me? What if my title and my social position is taken away from me? What if my academic qualification is taken off? What's that thing that is still true about me? What's that thing that is still true about me? Your identity becomes stronger and realistic when you understand where you create value naturally and intentionally. You are not being forced, but you find yourself delivering in that angle. You are not being forced. You find yourself, people are struggling in that particular part, then you find yourself. Now, it's not just a question of what am I passionate about? what's my passion, what drives me. Now it's a question of what do I find doing easily when others are struggling to do. What are those problems that people like bringing to me to solve? Another thing I want you to write on that sheet of paper is what can change in a particular space because I'm around. Once you can answer this, you have just shifted from talent to delivering value. You've just monetized your talent. Let me use it that way. So you're going to write what can really change because I'm around. You know, there are some persons that things goes bad and they say, I wish this guy was around. I wish this person was around. Somebody is depressed. For ladies, right? Let me use that because I'm talking to the congregation of ladies. Somebody is depressed. A lady is heartbroken. And then, I wish this guy was around. I wish this guy was around, right? So, what can naturally change because I'm around? That's the next question you're going to ask on that blank sheet on that sheet of paper. Then, once you can answer this, you've shifted from just talent to delivering value. You've monetized your talent. Another steps I want you to follow around building your identity is building competency around your identity. When you discover identity, when you discover that one thing you can deliver, that one thing you are being known for, the next thing you should do is for you to build competence, because potential alone will not build a powerful identity. Just being talented will not build a powerful identity. Your potential, your talent added with competency will give you a very powerful identity. Now, this is it. We have a lot of fashion designers out there. I don't know why I like using fashion designers as an example. We have a lot of fashion designers out there, but more persons get referred than the others. Not because those guys are not fashion designers, not because they cannot sew, but because on the scale of competency, some persons are ranked higher than the others. So around your identity, what you have to do is build a lot of competency. You bake, you are into pastries, you do chin chin, you do peanuts, you do meat pie, you do whatever you do as a lady. Now when you do your face output might not be that perfect, right? But you have to get feedback because you want to advance from that level of being good to the best capacity of your existence in that particular identity. You know that you're an orator, but you not build good communication skills. You can actually speak, you can actually convince people on subject matters, but then you cannot communicate properly. It's going to form a barrier around your identity. Oh, we would have invited this lady to speak. We would have invited this girl to speak in this conference, but then she doesn't dress nice. She doesn't appear good. We would have invited her to speak in this conference, but then she can't speak good English. So what we are going to do is let's go for a second class choice, and over time that second class choice will become a first class choice, because the first class choice, that's the supposedly first class choice, refuse to build competency around potentials, around talent. Now somebody might say I'm a leader, but then leadership must be demonstrated. You might say I'm a businesswoman, but the thing is that business requires skills. Business requires skills, both hard skills and soft skills, communication skills, negotiation skills, a lot of listening skills, a lot of skills. So you say I'm a businesswoman and lack all of these things, you are not building competency. Now you might say I'm a communicator. I'm a communicator. Now you've not learned how to communicate. You've not learned good communication skills. You've not learned public speaking. Now we head over to another practical step. I'd like you to pick that same sheet of paper and choose an area you want to build your identity around. Now, and spend the next 12 months becoming exceptionally good in that area, so that you can build competence around that identity. You have to study about that area. You have to take courses in that area. You have to practice around that area. You have to even teach others that in that same area, because I've learned over time that the more you teach people, the more you become perfect to what you do. And then sometimes you have to pick up volunteer jobs around that area. I know a young lady who, by the grace of God, she is traveling the world now as what we call MC, Master of Ceremony, Event Compere, right? Let me tell you how she started. She saw that she was good with these things. She had passion for it. I told you before that passion and talent is not just good. You need to build yourself. So what she did was that she built herself around that area, had an identity there. She began to pick up volunteer jobs. You have an event, she'll just tell you, oh please, can I come and be your MC? And you're like, oh, and she said, like, it's for free, I'm not going to charge you. I mean, who is going to organize an event and you see a good MC for free that you won't opt in for it? So she did the first one for free for this particular person. I'm not going to mention the guy's name. And then when the guy's conference came up the next year, the guy had to contact the lady, but not free again. She was paid because she delivered last time. So you might be saying, me, I cannot be working for free for another person. Me, I can. Boy, nobody knows you. Nobody sabi you. Nobody knows you. So what you have to do is this: you just have to sell yourself. Sometimes you have to cut down your price as long as it will not affect your business. You have to pick up volunteer jobs. Oh, I need to have an event. Can I speak in your conference? Oh, I need to have an event. Can I come and do MC for you? I'm very good at what I do, and all of those things. Oh, I have and all of those things. You might not have the platform to speak in conferences now, but you have a good smartphone. All you need to do is for you to get a tripod stand and probably some form of lightings, right? And then set it up very well. I mean, you can watch how to do that on YouTube, how to set up good lightings on YouTube. Set it up very well. Pick a particular topic and begin to speak. Post it on YouTube, post it on YouTube, post it on YouTube. You might have an opportunity, you want to volunteer to speak in a conference. I mean, to speak to in a little conference. And then you have to refer them to your page, to your YouTube channel, or to your social media handle. It can really, really help you. So when you are done doing that, you are already on a journey of building capacity around your identity. I'd like you to note, identity is strengthened by evidence. You do not become known for something because you announced it, but you become known for something because you consistently demonstrate it. You become known for something because you consistently are good with that thing you do. You deliver it premium. You have to develop professional standard. A woman with identity doesn't allow anybody to define her. She doesn't accept any form of definition other than what she is, who she is, what she is becoming, or what she is being known for. So you cannot just walk up to a woman who has built capacity. You cannot just walk up to a woman who has built, who has a good identity, a woman who has recognized her identity, a woman who has built competence and capacity around her identity and define her the way you feel you should. She's not going to allow it. She's not going to accept it, even with all sense of humility and politeness. She's going to define herself. She's going to define herself to you in case you did not know. Now, your identity should influence all areas of your life, like your relationship, your dressing, your communication, your work ethics, your finances, your friendship, your online presence, your business decision, your boundaries, your integrity. Your identity should influence your relationship. Now, a woman who has gotten her identity right, built capacity around her identity, set structures, and she's competent, she's good with what she do. Her identity is spelled out. She won't accept any kind of man that comes her way. This is a problem I have with ladies, but for the persons in my community, that's the woman of our dream community, they've heard me over time say some things about this subject matter over time. You can't marry any kind of man just because you feel that you don't have anybody to marry you. As long as you have purpose, you're going to filter your choices of men you want to marry. Not because you are arrogant, but because what you want to achieve cannot be sabotaged on the altar of marriage. What you have built so far as a single person, as a single lady, cannot be sabotaged on the altar of marriage. I'm writing a book and I'm trusting God to let the book out as soon as possible. Now, the title of the book is Marriage, the 21st Century Slave Trade. In that book, I spoke about how that a single person will have visions for herself, will have dreams for herself. Then, on a particular account, one man from nowhere, a hopeless man, a visionless man, a purposeless man, a useless man from nowhere will just come to ask your hand in marriage. And because it is marriage, you accept the man. And then all the things you've built over the years will now be sabotaged on the altar of marriage. The man will come to your parents, pay some certain amount of money, and take you to his house and say, you can't be a career woman, you can't do social media, you can't do the things you've been doing again, you can't do all of those things, right? It's when once the book is out, I'd like you to grab a copy and read. It's very, very impactful. I promise you, it's very, very impactful. So, but once you build your identity, the next thing that happens is this: you will filter the kind of person you will accept. You will filter the kind of man you want to marry. I want to say something a little bit. I had a conversation with my wife. Recently, and I was like I won a trophy, and she told me a lot of guys asked my hand in marriage. Oh, I didn't say yes. I couldn't say yes. I asked her why. She said, maybe they didn't meet my test. I told her, I said, maybe I'm more handsome than them. She said, you think it's about your handsomeness. It's not about your handsomeness. There are guys that are more handsome than you. And she told me it's about what you carry. I was shocked. I said, very Sunday. So I'm sharing that for you to understand that there's a girl out there, there's a lady out there who will not accept any guy, not because she has gotten to the peak of her identity, but because she has the picture of what she wants to achieve in life, in the now, right? Once the picture is present in the now, that can help you walk into the future, and that will also help you filter the relationship you will get into. Now, the next thing is that your identity should influence your dress pattern. I've seen a lot of ladies, you have built a particular identity, but from nowhere you begin to dress somehow. No, your identity should influence your dress pattern. Your identity should influence the way you communicate. Like, I want to share this. When I wasn't married yet, while I was still searching for someone to marry, there are ladies, I'll see them very beautiful, like they are, but when they open their mouth to speak, I'm easily turned off by things that you will never think will turn me off. I like people who have coordinated speech. By coordinated speech, I don't mean people who form to speak, right? You are in public, you want to speak, and your mouth is just wah, 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 wah. Like, I met a lot of ladies while searching. From far, I will admire them, but when they come close, their communication pattern is very poor. Now, your identity should influence how you want people to see you. That's your communication pattern. How you communicate on a particular matter. Your identity should also influence your lineup of friends. The Bible says that the company of the fools shall be destroyed. And I like saying these things. I said, if you have 5 foolish friends, you are the only wise person. Give yourself time. You'll be the 6th foolish person. If you have 5 poor friends, you are the only rich person. Give yourself time. You'll be the 6th poor person. Because these 5 persons will tune your mental state to think like them. The only way that you can survive that kind of thing is for you to disassociate with them, stay outside the box, and build them into wealth, build them into influence, into business and leadership. Your identity should influence your online presence. You shouldn't want to look like this and be posting something like this. I find a lot of ladies post some things that I'm not comfortable with. I have friends on my status, right? I have friends on my WhatsApp, on my contacts, and I see them post on their status. But at the end of the day, they will still want people to rate them as the other version of themselves. So your identity should influence your online presence. What you constantly post will define what you represent online, right? Now, somebody went for a job interview, and the person was asked a question. The person lied about the answer, right? So all they needed to do was they just went to the person's social media account and pick the truth. It's going to influence your online presence, what you repost or what you share. Let me give you a simple tip, right? You can regulate your timeline such that people can be posting, or people's start posts cannot be sharing on your timeline. Because you can make a post now, somebody somewhere is drinking alcohol, and you don't want to be associated with alcohol, and then the person tags you, so it begins to show on your timeline. It makes your timeline dirty. it doesn't make it decent. Your timeline is like your room, your online workspace. So keep it clean. Lock your timeline. You can review who tags you or which tag post can show on your timeline, right? So your identity will also influence your business decision. Your identity will influence your business decision. If I'm into fashion, I don't know why I keep using fashion. If I'm into fashion, for example, and somebody comes and meets me and say, I want you to show this kind of design, make this kind of design for me. And I say, okay, no problem. I look at it. He say, okay, please, I have 3,000 for this design. Meanwhile, what I'm going to give is beyond 3,000. It's going to, I will say no. I will say no to it. Right? I will say no to it. Now, I'm going to share something at the end of this particular one. Now, the next thing is your identity should influence your boundaries. Your boundaries. I'm talking to ladies. That's why I want to be very blunt. I want to be very raw. Your identity should influence your boundaries. We have a lot of ladies where you are going to hug a guy. I mean, you are giving full chest. As per what? As how now? You are going to let's say, for example, the guy is seated here, the guy is feeding his phone, you want to see what the guy is doing, just your friend. The next thing is, you're already falling on top of the guy. You're already on the guy. Like, as how now? Your identity, set boundaries. As someone that has gotten a clear identity of who she wants to be known for. Okay. It's like I'm diving into relationship now, but then you cannot be visiting a guy anyhow. You cannot be visiting a guy anyhow. You cannot be tolerating some kind of conversations. Set boundaries. You cannot allow a guy to... Remember I told you that a lady who has gotten her identity will not accept any form of definition from anybody. She defines who she is, what she wants you to look to see her as, what she wants you to call her, what she wants to be known for. She gives that definition and she puts it straight to you. That's why I'm saying that's why I'm giving all of these things. Your identity should influence this, should influence that, should influence that, should influence your boundary. As a woman that wants to take up the future, as a woman that wants to build the future, own your future and regulate your future, as a woman of influence, leadership, capacity, business, career woman, your identity must influence your boundaries, and then your identity must influence your integrity. Yes, your integrity. Your integrity. You will not want to be your brand to be known for quick delivery. How many of you are aware that if you give a tailor, let me use the word tailor, because I'm not sure that fashion designers will do that. If you give a tailor clothes, you want to use the clothes in the next, let's say this is 1st of August 2026, right? You want to use the clothes on the 20th of August 2026. It's possible that you will tell that tailor you want to use it on the 10th of August. Why? Lack of integrity, lack of trust, right? I told you before that the word trust must come in. Once there's integrity in an identity, there can be referrals. Once integrity is missing, once trust is missing, nobody can refer you. Let me define referrals for you. Referral simply means you presenting referral simply means another person presenting you to somebody else, swaying by your name. Oh, I need someone who can fix my gadget for me. Okay, I know somebody down the street. He is very good. Are you sure? I'm sure he's very good. He has fixed my gadget. I've referred people to him. He has fixed their gadget and there's no complaint. And we've not had complaints. Or the person says, all right, let me go ahead. So the person goes down the street, fix the phone, and there's no integrity. The person will not just be angry with the guy who fixed the phone. The person will come back to the guy who made referrals and say, that guy you referred to me is not who you think he is. So referral is like, if I refer you, I am putting my own name at stake. So you need to build integrity around your identity so that if I can refer you as a fashion designer, if I can refer you, or if I should refer you as a fashion designer, if I should refer you as someone that's into baking pastries, as an event planner and all of those things, I know that my name will not be dragged to the mud. I said I was going to share something at the end of this particular section. Now, I heard of a story. This popular TikToker, Pella's wife, Jarvis, right? One girl, one tailor, let me use the word tailor, one tailor dragged a designer online with allegedly saying that the clothes that Jarvis wore some times ago, that she sold the clothes. I'm heading somewhere, follow my story. Now this is how it went. Jarvis contracted the designer. Oh, I like this. I want make a design for me. The guy made the design. Jarvis liked the design. And then the guy doesn't know how to sew. The guy contacted someone who can sew very well, took the design to the person, showed the person the design. She said she can sew it. She made the cloth and charged little. The guy took the cloth to Jarvis. Jarvis fitted the cloth, was very nice. She paid much, and they took peanut to that lady. What do you think the problem is? What do you think the problem is? She got defined by the guy because she had presented the wrong identity. Are you saying that we do not have bigger fashion house around that place? What happened that guy didn't walk into that the other big fashion house to do that rubbish? The guy cannot do it because they have presented their identity, their definition, what they stand for, who they are, and what they represent. So he can't come with that rubbish. That's the same thing I'm crying. That's the same thing I'm saying. Put your identity out there for people to know who you are, what you represent, and they will define you by that. Every time you mention Ben Sunday, there's something that comes to your mind. You cannot just mention Ben Sunday and my wife's name will come to your mind. It's not possible. What comes first to your mind is who I have defined myself to be over time. I want to say a big thank you to people who are still at this point, who have not given up on the teaching. And I hope you've learned something. Then if you have, I'd like to know what you've learned in the comment section. I'd like you to pick that sheet of paper again and write this. If I say this is who I am, what should I no longer tolerate? If I have an identity, what are the things I do not want to tolerate again? What are the things I should not tolerate again? And now, if this is who I am becoming, what must I start doing consistently? If this is who I am becoming, Ben Sunday, what must you start doing consistently? I didn't say what must you start doing. Underline the word consistently. Because I know at some point you started doing something, but you're not consistent with that thing you were doing. So my emphasis is not what you should start doing, but what you should start doing consistently. So if I say this is who I am, what should I no longer tolerate? What are those things you want to pull out? Write it on that sheet of paper, right? I like you to write on that list, for example, under if I say this is what I'm becoming, what should I no longer tolerate? I can suggest for you. One of the things you should not tolerate is constantly comparing yourself. Another thing is that accepting opportunities that will compromise your values, right? I don't remain ignorant in areas that matters to my future. I will no longer compromise ignorance in areas that pertains to my future. I will no longer tolerate ignorance in areas that matters to my future, in areas that matters to who I am becoming. What must you do consistently? You must become disciplined. You are going to write it this way. I am becoming disciplined. I am becoming financially intelligent. I am becoming excellent at my crafts. I am becoming excellent at my crafts. I am becoming excellent at my crafts. Remember what I told you about building capacity? I am becoming a woman people can trust. People can trust. For the sake of referrals, become a woman people can trust. For the sake of referring your identity, become a woman people can trust, right? Now, I tell you that your identity will surely translate to behavior. Your identity will surely translate to your behavior. As long as you define your identity, you track it, follow it, do those things I told you. The next thing, it becomes your behavior. Naturally, you live that way. This was going to help somebody, right? I said stop copying and start distinguishing yourself. Stop copying, start distinguishing yourself. One of the greatest enemy of identity is comparison. One of the greatest enemy of identity is when you start comparing yourself to others, you want to copy them without knowing the kind of mistakes they've made over time, without understanding the fact that they might be pursuing a different assignment. They might be pursuing a different dream. So stop copying and start distinguishing yourself. I'd like you to ask yourself questions. Write it on that blank sheet of paper. I told you it's going to be a practical this thing. Why I'm making it very practical so that you can sincerely answer these questions if at all you want to build an identity for yourself. Now, so you ask yourself, what's uniquely mine? What's that thing that is distinguishing me from others? It could be your story, it could be your experiences, it could be your perspective, it could be your skills, it could be the combinations of your abilities, it could be the unique way you solve problems, right? It could be your voice, it could be your joining. So that's what makes you you. That's the way I'm talking is me. You can't want to talk like me. Talk like yourself. Create your own voice brand and speak. Now you might be doing something similar to another person, right? You both might be in fashion. You both might be into graphics design. But then your uniqueness, your creative ability defines you, makes you different from the other person. I told my students some time ago, I was teaching some set of persons graphics design, video editing, and picture editing, right? Photo editing. Then I told them, I gave them tests. They all sat and I taught them one day, like the same time, the same class, the same atmosphere. But when I gave them the test, the same form of design, the same write-up, and they came up with different designs, different perspective. I told them something. I told them that what distinguishes you from another person is your creative ability. I can pick up a video I want to edit now. Another person picks up that same video I want to edit. I won't peep at your screen. The person won't peep at my screen. We will come out with something unique based on our level of creativeness, based on the level of our creative ability. So you might be doing something another person is doing, but what distinguishes you from another person is your creative ability. Work on your creative ability. Work on your identity. Do not copy another person. Learn to stand out. Make your identity visible. Make your identity visible. The world, people won't respond to value that is not visible. People won't respond to value that they can't see. There are a lot of persons that they can do a lot of things, but then they are shy to put it out there for people to see. There are a lot of women that they can do so many things, but then they are afraid of putting out there. Nobody would compliment a value that is not seen. Nobody will pay for a value that is not gotten. So learn to make your identity visible. Now, this is where I say that this is where personal branding comes in, right? If you are good with something, talk about it. If you can bake, talk about it. I like making examples, right? On the day of my wedding, that was 11th of April 2026, on the day of my wedding, one of my wife's classmates, her colleague in school then, she's into baking. She makes cake, she makes peanuts, she makes chin chin. I mean, this lady came for my wedding, and she came with her bags of goods, right? Her bag of goods, right? And after we were snapping, I think that was before the reception or thereabouts. I can't really remember. Okay, no, that was after everything, not before reception. That was after everything, right? So I was snapping with my wife. She came to my wife with her. I don't know how she knows that I love peanut and ching ching, especially peanut. She came to my wife with her peanut bag and like, please buy for your husband. I know he loves peanut. Buy for your husband. Buy for your husband. She's good with it. She had to do what? She had to talk about it. If you know something, teach it. I told you something before now. I said that I have learned over time that when you teach what you know, you gain more knowledge about that subject matter. Once you learn something and you are teaching the other people, the other younger generation or people that don't know, you are not selfish. You are gaining knowledge about that subject matter the more. Right? If you can solve something, demonstrate it. If you can solve something, demonstrate it. Remember that this point is talking about making your identity visible, right? And I told you that the world will not pay. People will not pay for value that is not seen. Now, if you can solve something, demonstrate it. If you have learned something, document it. If you have learned something, document it, right? Now, if you have built something, show it. No be pride. No be pride. If you have built a brand, if you've built a fashion brand, show it up. If you built a peanut brand, if you built a baking brand, a pastry brand, if you built a car brand, if you built the woman of our dream brand, if you built the expression community brand, Put it up, show it up, don't hide it, put it up. Your social media should not only show your face, it should show your brand. Your social media should not just only show your face, it should show your brand, it should show what you are into. Please, if you follow my teachings very well, you find out that some of the things I'm saying now, I had said something about it previously, like in this same video. I said something about it. I told you before that somebody went for an interview and they went to check the person's social media handle to find out who the person truly is. So your social media should not just show your butt. Your social media, now, I'm being very raw now. There are ladies who want to take pictures and then they are positioning well. You can show the face behind the brand. I mean, on a Sunday, hello, this is the face behind Benson TV. Hello, this is the face behind the woman of our dream. Hello, this is the face behind Pistis Fashion Design, Pistis Fashion House. Hello, this is the face behind, that's beautiful. But let your brand, learn to use hashtag. Hashtag your brand. Every post you make should carry your identity. For example, after posting hashtag Benson TV. For example, after posting hashtag the woman of her dream, it must carry it. It's an identity. I must carry it wherever I'm going. So learn to hashtag yourself, right? Now your social media handle should communicate, this is what I know, this is what I do, this is what I value, this is the problem I solve. Your goal is not to be famous. Eventually, you will get fame, right? You will get known, right? Your goal is to become recognizable for value. Your goal is to be identifiable for a particular value. Your goal is to gain value for a particular identity. Your goal is that people should know you for a particular thing. This one is very practical. Create your name statement. That's your identity statement. Pick that same sheet of paper. Maybe it is full by now, right? You pick another one, but if it's not, you continue. Now write this thing down. When people hear my name, I want them to think of you include what you want people to think of your name, right? The next one is, I help dash to dash. I help people to sew their clothes. I help people to boo boo boo. I help people to boo boo boo. Right? You understand what I'm saying? Now the next is, I am becoming the kind of woman who do. That's for you now. That's for you, right? I am becoming a kind of woman who wants to be known for fashion. I'm becoming a kind of woman who loves my boundary, who loves learning, who loves building capacity, who loves creating opportunity for other women. Now when you do this, you have begin to intentionally construct an identity. Build identity through consistency. Identity is not built in a day. Rome was not built in a day. I'm rounding up, right? So you will not just start something. Remember, before I told you something about you should write out what you want to start doing consistently, not what you want to do, what you want to start doing consistently. So consistency helps build identity. When you are consistent with something, it helps build your identity and also help put your identity in front of people, in front of millions of persons. Today I'm posting about the woman of our dream. Tomorrow I'm posting about the woman of our dream. Next tomorrow I'm posting about my brand. I'm posting about my brand. You are seeing it. You are seeing it. You are seeing it. I'm a pastor. I'm posting about my ministry. I'm a baker. I'm posting about my business. I'm into this. I'm posting about it. Right? You are seeing it. Now I know something. If you want to be known for discipline, practice discipline. If you want to be known as excellent, produce excellent work. Right? If you want to be known as trustworthy, keep your words. Let me say something. If you see a Deeper Life member, I don't know about now, then, a Deeper Life member in a particular place, if they want to compromise to standard, once they see that Deeper Life member, they will do everything possible to kick the person out of that team, because the person will not agree. That's an identity, right? Now, if you want to be known as knowledgeable, as a knowledgeable person, now, keep learning. If you want to be known as a leader, start leading something. Leading an organization, leading your brand, leading a group of persons, leading your siblings, leading your family, right? What you repeatedly do becomes what people believe about you. What you repeatedly do becomes what people believe about you. And what people consistently experience from you becomes your reputation. What you repeatedly do becomes what people believe about you. And what people consistently experience from you becomes your identity, becomes your reputation. I want to say a big thank you to everybody who have followed this teaching to this point. And I trust God and I believe you've learned something. Now, if you have, I want to know in the comment section. I want to know in the chat, right? This is my final words, right? I want you to stop asking only, who am I? Start asking, what is my name going to represent? What is my name going to represent? When I hear the name Victoria, what comes to my head? When I hear the name Pistis, what comes to my mind? Right? Now, because one day somebody should be able to hear your name and immediately know what you represent. One day somebody should hear your name, Ben Sunday, and know what Ben Sunday represents. If you hear about Dangote today, you know what he represents. Your name should carry value. Your name should carry competence. Your name should carry character. Your name should carry solution. Your name should carry influence. Your name should carry trust. And when people encounter you, they should not just remember that they met a woman. They should remember what you brought into the room. They should remember what you brought into their life. They should remember what you helped them do. I think many times where a particular name is mentioned somewhere, and they say, Kai, that woman, good. If not be that woman, I for know. So, the name was mentioned, the identity followed. So your name should not just be remembered as a woman, but should be remembered as what you help people do, the value you represent, your identity, right? Don't spend your entire life trying to prove that you are a woman at all. Don't spend your entire life trying to prove your gender. Everybody knows you're a woman. You have what women have, right? Don't spend your entire life trying to prove that you're a woman. Now, don't spend your entire life trying to tell people who you are. Put it before them, right? Spend your life becoming a woman of substance, a woman whose presence creates value, a woman whose knowledge solves problems, a woman whose character earns trust, a woman whose work speaks, a woman whose name means something. That's your identity. Once you can follow this line of teaching, you can create a good identity for yourself. Finally, don't just be known as a woman, be known for the value you bring as a woman. I want to say a big thank you to every woman out there, every lady out there, every girl out there who has followed this teaching to this point. And I know too well, I trust God that once you can put these things step by step, once you can follow these things step by step, you will become the woman of your dream. You will become a woman of value. You will build a speakable identity for yourself. And that identity will define who you are. That identity will bring you self-worth. That identity will bring value to your existence. I am Ben Sunday, the lead resource person for the woman of her dream and the president of the Expression Community.